You need to start hoarding a specific type of penny and a specific type of dime right now before it's too late. In the wake of news about pennies going out of production, you see stories like this just 30 minutes ago. When does the end of penny production, or sorry, what does the end of penny production mean for consumers? People are starting to ask themselves a lot of questions, but there's a way of hoarding a specific dime and a specific penny that not only will become worth a lot of money in the future, but it's going to absolutely change the way you think about money, and it will actually make you a millionaire. I'm not joking. In 2010, I started to buy silver, and it changed everything for me. And the truth is, I was a millionaire when I was 25, but it still didn't do anything. That money paled in comparison to the knowledge that I gained when I started buying these specific types of silver coins and pennies. So let me back up here. First, if you want to become rich and you want to become self-sufficient, type yes. And I'm not joking. You need to say something out loud. You need to type it because I want to see your brain rewired. And I'm about to give you financial advice. And if you want to learn how to make money in weird ways, then hit the subscribe button and let's freaking go. So first off, let's talk about the pennies. The penny is being cut from production. The president signed, I believe, an executive order, and they're going to stop producing pennies. There is a special type of penny dated from 1983 and older, and it is pretty much a solid copper penny. Most people don't understand that when you have things that come from the earth, whether that be metal, precious metals, water, land, oil, those are things that make people wealthy. So if you're not wealthy, start setting aside copper pennies. I know it sounds crazy, but I've got a little trash can full of them at home. And still to this day, I go out and I grab pennies. I don't got any of them in my truck. But my point being is I go grab them and I set them aside because they're worth 3 cents. Now, to a lot of poor people, because they're poor in their mind, they would think, I'm not going to waste my time with that. Yeah, you sit back on your Amex card and see how that one works out. But when you start to set those aside and you have something, you realize that every poor person in America has pennies. Even the most poverty-stricken person has a penny. And when they understand the difference between a copper penny and a zinc penny, they start to think completely differently. Type 1 if you set aside your copper pennies down below. What it does is it rewires the way that you think about value and time. When I was a firefighter for 26 years, the guys used to laugh at me because I would buy boxes of pennies from the bank. And while they're all watching TV or playing video games, I'd sit in there and I'd just separate the copper from the non-copper. And I was the wealthiest guy at the fire station, but I was the one getting made fun of. They used to take change and put it along the back of my muffler from my old beat up Honda Civic because they all had nice big new trucks. And I drove an old work truck for my home flipping business. And I had a Honda Civic that I drove back and forth to work. And they would joke around because I said, well, that Honda Civic saves me money. And so it'd spit out change. And what I would do is I would go and pick up the change and I would take it down and they would be laughing and giggling, think they got something on me. I'd go down to the store and this is what silver coin I would buy. And this will change everything. A silver dime. See, silver dimes were produced from 1964 and older. They are made of 90% of silver. They're actually called junk silver, as it's known in the industry. I love it how people mock this stuff. And this would get me excited, where what I believe is complete fools, monetary fools, financial idiots, they would mock me for driving an old beat up Honda Civic to work, that every day I saved money, I would invest that money into stocks and eventually cryptocurrency. They would mock when I would separate my pennies. And what would happen is I became very acutely aware. And I know multiple, I'm telling you right now, there are multimillionaires, centimillionaires, and billionaires that I know that believe the exact same way and they act the exact same way. They get pleasure out of being able to buy things of value when others think they're fools. And then nobody ever thinks a billionaire is really a fool. But I'm telling you, if they didn't know they were a billionaire and they heard what they were doing, they would be made fun of. So silver dimes are really interesting, especially mercury dimes. Mercury dimes have this image of a person with something in their hair. I'm blanking on what it looks like. Almost looks like lightning bolts to me. But am I right on the mercury dimes? I'm blanking out now. They look different and they're highly collectible. And right now you can buy one for like $3. Do me a favor. I know it's going to sound stupid, but I'm trying to rewire the way you think. Type I do if you have $3. Now, there are actual people that will say they don't have $3, and then I'm watching them drink an expensive overpriced coffee, or they're sitting there on their expensive cell phone. I don't believe them. All right. Every single one of us, as you're typing I do, I got $3. Now, the question is, do me a favor. And this is a real thing. And this is not something you make fun of people in the comments about. You encourage them. Watch this, because this is what my channel is all about. I want to make 1 million people millionaires, and we call ourselves Ninja Nation. We're a group of people that around the world are prepared and not scared. If you have $3 and you do not own a silver dime, please do me a favor. Just type I do not. And then if any of you see people say I do not, go in there and encourage them and tell them what's going to happen when they take that $3. They go down today to a coin store and they buy 1 silver dime, especially if you can get a mercury dime. It's going to change your life. In 2010, I started buying silver dimes, and it changed the whole game because I started to understand value. And I went from losing in the stock market to not losing anymore. I started going from speculating in little businesses and side hustles to building legitimate, real business. And I still can't believe, and it was because of this channel, an amazing handful of subscribers have brought me to companies that you're going to see. I will be a part of multiple billion-dollar companies in just the next 12 months. And it all started with selling candy in high school, going to own a baseball card shop in high school, car washes and all this kind of stuff, to where I'm in now. And pretty soon I'll be ringing that bell at the stock market. Can't wait for that. But it all started with a paradigm shift of setting aside copper pennies and silver dimes. If you'll do this, you're going to become wealthy, because once you change your mindset, your entire life changes. Every decision in your life changes. The people you hang out with actually changes. That's a whole nother financial lesson in and of itself. And that's where you need to be. So I just wanted to throw this out there. If you would just think about going out today, buying a silver dime for $3, going through your pennies just today and setting aside the pennies, and after about 2 seconds, you're going to see, oh my gosh, I see the difference. I can see the difference in a silver dime. I can see the difference in a copper penny, and it's already begun. And you're like, oh my gosh, the ninja told me this would rewire my brain. You're going to see value. And you set aside those copper pennies today, put them aside. Shoot, go follow me on X. I'll put my X thing. Do me a favor. I will retweet or comment on every single person that puts on a picture of their copper pennies or some silver dimes, because we've got to get this out there. We've got to rewire everyone's brains around the world to think about what real value is. All right. So I'm going to put my X account down. And if you want to sign up for the newsletter, it's free. It's really been helping a lot of people with financial news and ideas on how to make money. Hope you get that. It's absolutely free, and I never sell your info. All right. With that being said, the Economic Ninja is out.